Yeah. I could see the chat. It's a little bit more interactive.
Yeah.
So keep going with what you're saying there on BCAT, on Bitcoin Cash, or on
Well,
Bitname.
yeah, I was just talking about how Bitmain just released their profit earnings uh, in preparation for their IPO that they're wanting to do, and there was a report that just came out that they've increased their profits by 800% in the past year, up to 700 million in just the first half of 2018,
That's
with
insane.
revenues of 2.8 billion, which does make sense when you look at the increase in hash power
Yeah.
on the Bitcoin network. Well, actually, SHA-256 networks has almost tripled in the past like 15 months.
Yeah.
And Bitmain controls 85% of the market. So 85% of that was all coming from Bitmain rigs, which does make sense with the profit and revenue that they're showing. But
Yeah.
I was
Then they
talking
did
about,
they did break it down, and their sales was. I mean, I
yep.
wonder if they did if there some of that's them doing their own mining or trading or just
Yeah,
strictly selling the rigs. What do you think? Does it break it down?
I don't know if they did. Yeah, I mean, it says in the report their business model revolves around just ASIC chips, so not even necessarily trading. However, if they were trading, that would be massive because of the sheer volume of, like, right now Bitcoin Cash that they hold. They have over 1 million tokens because for the longest time, they were only accepting Bitcoin Cash
Mm-hmm.
as payment methods. So that was essentially the use case.
I thought that was still in place.
No, they actually opened it up and they started accepting other forms of payment. Um, I think probably mostly because Bitcoin Cash kind of went down so much in value.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of speculation that Bitmain has a lot of hash power in
Mm-hmm.
reserves, and that there were theories that was all going to be part of the Operation Dragon Slayer stuff, where they were going to turn on
Right.
all their rigs and overtake the Bitcoin network with the Bitcoin Cash network, and there's a whole bunch of hush hush secrecy. I don't know how much validity there was to that, but they did, for a very long time have Bitcoin Cash as the only way of paying for their hardware. And if 85% of all that hardware came from Bitmain, it does explain why they have so much.
Yeah.
So what they're going to do with it, I don't know, because if they were to try and start selling that is, we look at the Mount Gox sell-offs and the one that's coming up in December, and we think, oh, that's going to have a huge impact on the market, but
Yeah.
that kind of pales compared to the sheer amount of tokens that Bitmain has for Bitcoin Cash. So we'll see.
Well, Alex just raising his hand. I'm trying to bring him back in. I know, Chris. Those numbers are incredible. And then the competition that you were saying, like if Samsung gets in, I mean, if they're going public, maybe that's the top for them. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, it's a good run. I wouldn't. It's obviously in their self interest to do it. I mean, if not a bad thing. I just wonder if that's the top. Well,
Yeah.
it would be cool to watch it trade too. How the stock trades.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I think that's kind of the main driving force behind this recent push up on Bitcoin Cash, though, is all the stuff with Bitmain, since they have such a controlling share of it.
Yeah.
You might need to give permissions to Alec.
Let's see.
Oh, nope, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Hey, brother.
Yep,
Welcome
thank you.
back.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You're good.
What's going on, Evan? What's Digitech Futures? I'm not familiar with that, Evan. What's that, buddy? I gotta switch to my crypto charts. I got BTC up here, Bitcoin futures. Really nothing going on, guys. I said it today to our live room, like this is the epitome of no man's land on the chart. I'm not surprised that there's zero activity. The reason I say that, just because here's this lower high was pretty major that we did with the cycle. And then we put in another pivot here we talked about now, 6,800. And so between this support, this floor, And that pivot, I mean, we're right stuck in the middle. So there's pretty much no edge. And so when we say edge, it's kind of like, you know, where do you have an edge, or where is the probability of something, a higher probability of something happening? And like here, there's pretty good edge because you're at the trend line, you're at the top of the bands, you're at the top of the cycle. Here, you're at the bottom of the cycle, you're at support. We're stuck right in the middle right now, futures, unfortunately.
Definitely pushing to the edge of that wedge, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I do want to look at the relative value, though. So let me switch over my. I don't have all my stuff up because I had to restart. If you guys have any coins you want to look at, we haven't kind of done that in a while. Oh man, I got to log in too.
Yeah, I don't know. There seems to be like a lot of altcoins right now that are sitting in pretty good positions where we have put in those higher lows and we're kind of waiting to see if we're going to have those moves up to get those higher highs, at least on the intermediate term, which is promising. It feels like we're kind of slowly coming up on the right side of the chart potentially. I know that in the room, some of the ones that we're looking at right now are like Neo and Salt. What were some of the other ones we were talking about?
Well, the usual suspects: Binance on the dips, Monero.
Yeah,
Litecoin was pretty strong on a relative value basis today. I know the room kind of lit up on that. Did we have any Litecoin news that was driving any of that?
I don't know. I don't know if it was. Yeah.
It's sticking out. It's had a pretty good move up. Dash is still hanging out near the bottom. And you got Stellar down. That's actually relatively cheap. Maybe we should look at that one. Cardano's kind of on the move up right now. Alec, what's new? What are your thoughts, buddy? You got background and stuff on?
No. I mean, general market seems like I can't imagine we're going to be consolidating here much longer. It seems like everyone's just been accumulating in this. We've been bouncing off these lows for a while now, and I think every time we just bounce, it's pulling that rubber band tighter. People are accumulating what they want, and it's just going to see some sort of parabolic move as soon as we get that higher high. Some repeated higher highs here.
Well, I mean, we have basically month end here. So from a stock market perspective, they like to mark it up into month end. But I think October is going to be, what's up with Coinergy? I think we might see some volatility. So I'd love to see the overall markets, the traditional markets get shaken up. And maybe that shakes us loose a little bit,
Yeah, I mean, if you consider the fact that most altcoins kind of peaked well into January, they were definitely lagging behind Bitcoin. And looking at it on those timeframes, October does kind of line up with that 8.6, so that 8 to 9 cycle. So there is a pretty high potential, I think, to see a lot of follow through coming into October here.
Yeah, I hope so. I think you're right, Chris.
And if you chart it as kind of that descending wedge, that's kind of where everything is coinciding, right at that tip. So it's gonna go. It's probably going to go one way or the other. I am leaning towards up, but you never know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. So I mean, we had Bitcoin Cash get through Pi. I kind of considered maybe putting some longs back on. I took yesterday into the 200, and then it went right through. So I might wait on this next 4 hour and try to add back to maybe a little bit of that. It's not one of the coins that is our go-to. We got some miners that like to be a little bit long.
I'm curious what the relationship is between. I know we talked about Bitmain and Bitcoin Cash price. Saying you might add a little bit. And when you see Bitcoin Cash go up, you kind of wonder what sort of correlation is there between their rising and their IPO, right? I mean, their IPO is obviously going to be worth a lot more if their underlying books, which are primarily held in crypto, and that primarily held crypto is Bitcoin Cash, it rises at decent percentage points. I mean, that's going to affect their IPO quite a lot, I would say, even though I don't think I think they're just taking it market value, which isn't correct at the current price. But judging by they had like a 400-page IPO report. People have been trying to like go through. It's been pretty interesting to read some of the different points, but there's got to be some correlation there, and it's so hard to judge. I don't know, from a technical standpoint, looking at a chart when you have all these different variables that you have no control over.
Yeah,
it's just risk management at that point.
Well, we were talking before you jumped on, Alec, just about we'd like to really know what breaks down their entire revenue. Yeah, if it's just really what they're selling on the chips, et cetera.
Yeah, they actually did broke that down. I could share it, but they have a whole report. There's a pretty good few threads on Twitter about it. But yeah, it's pretty interesting seeing it all broke down, and the majority of it is actually from their holdings in crypto. It's more so than the mining is their current worth.
There's a couple of people on YouTube. Cameron's cracked me up. He wants me to check my favorite coin, Metal. Yeah, we can look at those though, buddy. Cardano, Neo, Salt. And then somebody is asking, what's our opinion recently on Ripple run? We just hit on.
Hey, Jason, it's XRP, not Ripple.
Oh, okay.
Or Ripple coin, but not Ripple.
I don't know what the swell event is. What's that? I just need to get up with the speed lately. You guys know someone's asking about the upcoming swell event, all capital.
I don't know what swell is.
It's a Ripple.
Oh. Well, I'm sure it'll have some effect on price because marketing and events are the only thing that influences price of Ripple. I mean, sure as hell is an adoption.
Yeah. I had the screen share paused. Man, I'm on fire today.
So apparently Bill Clinton is the keynote speaker.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Al Gore must have been busy.
That's pretty crazy.
I mean, like I said, then you got the money. That's their tool is money. They have money at their disposal.
Does global warming have a lot to do with Ripple? Probably.
Hey, it's more energy efficient than Bitcoin. So,
well, I think Cardano here, Cam. I do like that we made this higher low. It's the first time we've had a higher low on ADA for a while. I mean, this is lower low, lower low, lower low. Here, this is a phase 2 double bottom. First sign that maybe we're topping. We got above this high. This was pretty bullish, but we just couldn't keep any traction above the bands. And then we've been in this same lower high kind of environment. But I do like that we kind of checked up at the 8 here. So this is the key to watch right here. If we get above this high, we get above the bands, then I think it'll depend on what the overall market's doing. For us in the model, if we get above the bands, usually that means we go back to the 200, and that's where all this resistance is at 18. But we're going to have to see BTC do something also along those same lines. BTC is going to have to make a higher high or get above some of those pivots we talked about. But still, I haven't added to Cardano yet. I was hoping we would get 6 cents again, and I don't know if we will.
I actually I bought back in.
You did?
Pretty decent position on my Cardano with that last pullback, because I don't know if we'll see that 6.5 cent price again. And that's the thing. Cardano is one of those few projects that I'm bullish on long term, regardless of any price action. So I'm always kind of like, I'm fine taking some hits on some losses on it, but my general strategy is just trying to accumulate as much of it as I can.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think it's going to be one of the best performers when the market wants to go, for sure.
So Bitmain has recorded a $400 million loss in Q2.
What?
Yeah.
So Q2, what was the one with the 700 million? That was Q3.
I'm not too sure.
It said they had 700 million in profits in the first half of 2018. So if they had a 400 million loss in Q2, that means that wow, they had 1.1 billion in Q1.
But it seems like
maybe they reported in Q1. Maybe all those sales were into the highs. I'd imagine
they were sitting at they're currently sitting on about $1 billion in mining equipment that they haven't been able to sell in 2018 yet because the prices haven't pulled back.
Jeez. Well, that is a lot of hardware.
That $400 billion target is pretty optimistic.
Yeah, especially in this market. Saul, guys, I actually talked to Saul yesterday. It was a gentleman over there. We were kind of small world. Salt's out in Denver. It's where I grew up. So he knew some guys that I played hockey with, and he went to DU and then won the national championship. So we were going around, but sounds like they're still doing well. I mean, they've got 50, 60 people in their office. They got a hedge fund now in house. They actually are underwriting and taking, before they were just kind of being a middleman between people that wanted to put up collateral and borrow, and then the loan providers, somebody that actually wanted to take the risk and make the loan, but now they're doing some of that themselves. So this Salt might be one down here too that we see a really nice run if and when the market takes off. I mean, 60 is pretty key pivot, 60, then you got 70 right behind it. So those are the levels we got to get above to really take off on that one. It's kind of forming a little bit of inverse head and shoulders here. This would be the left shoulder. Here's a little bit of the head. Maybe we get a right shoulder in here. It's all the same basing. We're just bouncing around on the bottom down here. You would think, though, if BTC does, as long as it doesn't break 5,800, that this low would hold. You're getting pretty close to zero, so. And they're still sitting on a bunch of token, which I'm sure feels pretty good.
Yeah, it's ridiculously cheap compared to its highs. Because it topped out at like 15 bucks, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Come all the way down to 40.
Your Cardano is going to be listed on Kraken tomorrow. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
I did see that. Tomorrow?
I think so. I think they said that.
Yeah, Cardano's also got a lot of stuff coming out end of this month and then into October for development, which is positive for me. I don't know how much of an effect it'll have on the market, but it's nice to see that development actually getting pushed forward because they are slow and meticulous when it comes to things. So you'll actually be able to build some test stuff on their network now, which is very exciting.
I haven't really listened to any of their updates in a while. I always enjoy that, though. I kind of need to maybe do that this weekend. I did say I would do Ripple, right? So, XRP. I mean, the thing, guys, with conferences and that type of stuff, the market kind of already will discount that. So that's probably already priced in. And to Cameron's point there, he just said, yeah, when the event starts, you want to kind of be thinking more, the psychology is buy the rumor and then sell into the event. So I don't really have an opinion on that event. I don't know enough about it. I just tell you the charts actually looked pretty strong. I mean, we know what we talked about the other day when they pumped it up, but the market's not doing anything wrong here. You've held this wall, 50% retrace. We said that was a pretty good spot on the 4-hour bands. I hate to say Ripple is going to be the leader to kind of lead us out of here. I don't think that's the case, but it's actually one of the first coins that's that's actually looking pretty
You
good.
know, I think so. I think it's going to, not just because the technology or fundamentals or anything. I think it's, to be honest, I think it's kind of a leading indicator of how greedy people are in the space, right? If this pumps up, that shows that there are buyers and there are people that want to get involved. They want to see those gains that we saw, last year, in the fall. So you see Ripple pumping 128%. That shows that people are there. They're ready to buy any altcoin. If they're going to buy Ripple, they're sure as hell going to buy Bitcoin. They're going to buy everything else.
Yeah, that's a great point.
The money's there. The greed's there. Ripple's just the first one to maybe the most susceptible to that kind of, that kind of movement. But that doesn't mean, that kind of just shows that everyone's there. They're all ready, just ready to pounce on a few days of green.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean, the more chasing we can get, the more enthusiasm and excitement that really helps. Crypto. It's kind of what drives us to some of those amazing quick moves. Yeah. What other coins are you guys looking at in YouTube land?
I was just going to say one other thing with XRP. It's the same sort of situation with Verge. I bash on Verge a lot because I think they misrepresent themselves quite a lot. But any sort of interest that gets generated in crypto as a whole is a good thing. Whether the project itself is good or not, getting more people excited and interested in the space is always a net win for everyone. So in that sense, I don't hate on Ripple and everything that they're doing. But like you said, Alec, I think any type of excitement, any type of greed or interest in trying to make profits on these coins that aren't even necessarily Bitcoin is always a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, Cam, I'm trying to find a decent chart on metal here. Did it have a big move today or something?
And yeah, you are right. The marketing on Ripple is fantastic. When it comes to marketing, if you don't have any limits on money, there's not really a limit on what you can do, which is why you have Bill Clinton as a keynote speaker. So,
why would you choose him? I don't get it. I don't think he fared so well the last. I don't get
it. Hey, you're doubting their marketing now. Look what they've done without a product. Ripple doesn't have a use case, and look at the price. I mean, their marketing knows what they're doing.
Yeah. I'm kind of watching Dash here. Since when you start talking about marketing, that's one that always pops into my mind too. This real money candle down here is kind of like the big fat leg on the underneath side of the table. It's just holding up all the price action here. That's going to look like a breakout above 220. We're definitely close to turning the corner on all this stuff. And I know we've been saying it for a long time. It'll be nice when we're back in bull mode. I don't see any other coins on there.
Someone did mention Digibyte, so DGB.
Oh, okay. Oh, that was Evan. Okay. DGB. Never traded this one. Have you guys?
I have. Yeah. That's
a newer coin.
It's not a newer coin, but it is an interesting coin, I would say. It's split so that there's 5 different algorithms for mining it with a 20% split on each of them. So It's very secure. It's a very secure token in that regard. It is interesting though. But yeah, I do trade it. I have actually mined it too.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a decent amount of it? I mean, why? Because it was one of those.
Yeah, I had a decent amount of it.
Radar.
I had a decent amount of it, but then I used it in trading when it definitely started moving up. I mined some of it, I think last summer, and sold it. sold it last fall.
I mean, I think the chart, you got pretty good 2 cycles here, and then we're still in a down cycle on the daily. So not, not thinking about Bitcoin, the overall market cycle. This was 2 pretty good cycles here. So it looks like you still got to finish this out a little bit. Anytime the market's been down here, you've had pretty good support come in. So if you get this, you can notice it's about halfway, guys. So like Evan, if you get that down maybe into October, a little bit lower back in this zone, I think that makes a lot of sense. You want to be a buyer here, not chasing this stuff. So if you buy well here, you take some off there, get back some down here. That's one I'll have to keep an eye on though. I don't even have it as my favorites, but now I do.
Yeah, one last one, if you wanted to take a look at it, was Zen.
Okay.
Which used to be Zencash, and then they rebranded.
Is that what happened?
Yeah. So now it's what is the name of the coin now? I don't know. I think it was a decent move on their part.
Did they rebrand after their 51% attack? When their network, when people were successfully double spending on the network?
I don't.
Is that when they? From what I remember, that was Zencash, right?
Yeah.
Or are these the same thing, right? Zen and Zencash?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is kind of impressive in that in terms of alts, Zencash, or technically now Horizon, has weathered a lot better. If you look at the overall like cycles, it has established like actual cycles.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I was just gonna say, Chris.
It's not just that downward plunge that we've had on everything else.
Mm-hmm. So this does have some nice trading ranges. Like Cameron, I know maybe you guys are mining this stuff. I mean, these spots here, these have good moves coming off these lows. So it's a little bit concerning that you had this pattern and then you took this low out. But I don't think it's necessarily a reason you wouldn't want to be short or necessarily bearish, because I still have this low where, that's a pretty good spot down here. Maybe I think you got a good opportunity if we get down here. I don't have anything on this one, but there are definitely some good cycles. I mean, you buy well here, you have a nice cycle up, boom, takes them off. Now we haven't had a pop yet. Probably due for another. I like being long there, and maybe a chance to add even deeper. All right, well, that was a pretty good session. I know it's slow today. I mean, even in other markets, I haven't done much. Like the euro is kind of, I think, dollar's catching a little bit of a bid today. Maybe if we jump on tomorrow, we'll talk more markets if crypto's kind of slow again. But thanks for jumping on. You guys in YouTube land, maybe we'll hit you up tomorrow. Alec, do you have anything else, or Chris?
No. We'll be on tomorrow.
Yep.
All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your trading day.
Yep. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.